to Rain Gaming. Karen playing Disco Elysium. I haven't played it in like a month or something because I stupidly started 4 different series, and this is the least popular of the ones we're playing, but I really enjoy playing it, so I'm going to keep doing it until I find out who the guy that's murdered. And kind of think we know who it was. Alright then, bye. Why did we come here? What are we doing? Do we have any points? Yes, we do. Why don't we, in that case, can I unlock another slot? Yeah. So... we got so many. Will this help me? I want it to be a magnesium life form. Didn't we learn Hobocop before? Ungainly rambling. Sounds good. -1 to authority. Rigorous self-critique. Pretty sure he does that anyway. People think communism. Interact mode of taxation. Side bitch ideology cooking someone. If you see yourself from above, you've passed out on blue tiles at the hospital floor. Actual art degree. I thought I got that one before. Did I then forget it? Let's just do them in order and see what happens. Kim, I don't know what I was doing, I can't remember.
Yes? What about me? No.
Your brain sends the signal to your lips, but they refuse the order. Something is paralyzing them. You're pretty sure it has something to do with the lieutenant's eyebrow. It's like you're locked down. The lieutenant relaxes.
Good.
Let me just put the torch away. I wish I knew how to get behind there. Let's get drunk. And drugged.
Whoa. In your hand, Pyrrolidon, the double rainbow of synthetic hallucinogens, rare and gritty, a product of the age of atomic power. What a funny little cap. Don't let the scary medical warnings throw you off. It's an inadequate antidote to radiation. It's not gonna... You need to lower the radiation levels, your stomach thinks. The container is warm to the touch. Or is that just the anticipation? You screw the lid open and look. You suck a minuscule drop of extremely chemical-smelling liquid into your mouth. There, it seeps into your tongue. When you swallow, it's already almost all gone. It tastes like many things, all melting into one conflagration in the back of your throat.
Conflagration, so fire.
As you look around, the world slowly exists as it did before. Only now, gentle flames lick at its edges, as though it were a photo burning. Not really. It's just a metaphor. The effect of that otherworldly drop of liquid is slower, more subtle than that of real flames, yet just as warm. This warmth, it makes you want to share your discovery with Kim.
I'm happy for you.
His glasses turn golden as the fire reflects off the lenses. You feel this man is your brother. Just don't mix it with anything, he thinks, looking you over. Thankfully, his sense of balance seems okay. Whatever. I'm not getting involved. Wow. Kim's badass. Or he's had a druggy partner. Whoa. That's probably it. He's seen it before. Look at all these guys go off like fireworks as information pours into you about the lieutenant's simple remark. I'm happy for you. This stuff is great. Why not? This government-developed substance seems very non-intrusive. You could even operate heavy machinery, fire machinery. Already you can tell you're going to be sloping a lot more pyrrolidon. This stuff is going to give you insight into that little flickering light hidden in all human beings.
Is it going to tell me how to open
In the
that green
bottom
door?
right corner of the screen, there's a pyrrolidon button. It gives +1 to psyche skills. Empathy, suggestion.
Okay. Well, I really only did it for the mission. Let's do some cigarettes. Bullets? Never even had to do that. Open the apartment door for Everett. Ask Renee about the photo. Who's Renee? Find working class husband. Find your heraldic bird. Prove your authority. No. Find Morel the cryptozoologist. That's the husband, isn't it? Find speed and sniff it. Right.
There it is. A brave little army already.
Yeah, just leave me. I just want to go and open the door. He said not to mix the substances, right? I don't want to die.
You
This
see
sound
a
like
set of
demonetizes
tires.
us all. This bullshit's still going on.
There he still is.
Yep. There he still is. Q no! Oops. Just doing them things that I shouldn't be doing. I thought it would give me... I must have done them before and totally forgot. Whoops. Once I get my art degree,
Just
I can
an
paint this.
ordinary wall. Nothing to see here. You have no clue. So many walls. Oh,
Yeah. So... we should keep this in hand. And try and look like an actual cop. Stop! What do you see?
the spread pattern of these bullet holes makes your chest ache. Your breath grows heavier. More old bullet holes. Half a century at least. From the revolution, you peer into the faded marks in the stone. They peer back like an endless row of tiny black holes. Sweat starts trickling down your brow. Your chest feels tight looking at them. It's closing in.
You
Look at
okay
being
there?
injured.
You were looking pale there for a second. What are you looking at? Bullet holes generally look the same, so probably. But you're right. More old bullet holes from the revolution. Plenty.
Alright. It's cool how you piece the world
This
together.
must be it. The basement door is weather-worn. The copper nails holding the upholstery in place have turned green from sea air, and there's a knocker shaped like a lion's head. The royal lion, Guillaume's kitten. This knocker will last a lifetime and then some.
That's probably the door Everett mentioned. We still need to get the key from this manana first, though.
What manana? This man... Who's manana? Well, it looks like a cop, I said before, grabbing a plastic bag so I can get bottles to make money. Maybe. Stupid idiot. That fucking racist bastard. I'm not going to talk to you. This guy used to have no voice, and then he had a voice last time we played it, because it was from another day. Fuck Measurehead, he's a twat. The Simonine. We failed to open this, didn't we?
The file cabinet stacked the drawer.
Yeah.
The payphone hangs mutely on.
This guy.
Oh, hey, mister. I knew you'd be back to talk with old Leo here.
It's
Yes, I did.
Scottish.
Yes, I did. It's like Lady Larice said when she opened a bathhouse in the basement of my apartment building. They can only get so far before they're aching to get back. And lots of folk really did keep coming back. Sure, mister. Absolutely. I'm always willing to help out nice fellows such as yourself.
So where's the key? Who's Manana? Hey, dickface.
Mr. Dubois, a pleasure as always. You don't... Ah, yes, your side investigation. Thank you. You've got some spirit clearing up phony drug accusations alongside this murder. I'll talk to the mayor and see if I can get you the key to the city, Harry. Now let's talk real business.
Actually, Rivershaw doesn't have a mayor. He refuses to discuss it further. It's probably just a small nuisance to him. Not even a speck of anger in his voice. That's that then.
My dear Harry, there are literally millions of containers in this... I rarely do, Harry. I have people for that. Now, you were saying? Great! You want to bounce something off your old friend Mr. Clare, right? Well, let's hear it, Harry. If she actually wants to see me, she will find a way.
He doesn't want to see her.
Absolutely, Harry. See you soon.
Yeah, but who is Manana? Christ. Who's got the key? The guy shouting outside the gate. Maybe? Did we go in here before?
This is the night watchman's booth. The chair is not as austere as the rest of the booth. A thin grey pillow is attached to the seat, secured to the stiles by black ribbons. Stale air floods through your nostrils. Not a single mote of dust floats inside your lungs, though. The inside of the booth is immaculate. The drawers are empty, save for old timesheets and receipts. One small box, however, does hold some cheap painkillers. They are slightly out of date. You take the painkillers. They are yours now. Oh boy, where to start? Elevated risk of dementia, mini strokes, Prophet's disease, sudden death,
Hell's Prophet's
hair
disease.
death, erectile malfunction,
Malfunction.
critical flatulence, watery blood, black mucus, uncontrollable weeping,
It says mucose, not
increased
mucus.
sensitivity to La Opera, inoperable joint disorder, total spinal collapse. Maybe this was a bad idea. You stand and exit the booth.
But we've got some painkillers
This
which we
is-
might have use for. I want to get down there. How do you get down there? Unless this is Banana. It is!
How'd you like our harbor?
You've been in there, he means. Talked to the boss man too, probably.
It's but a rest area on the path leading across open plains. Right, you talk to the boss, eye to eye, like men of the plain. A key, huh? What door is this key supposed to open? Oh, say no more. I got you. I got that key right here. And let me tell you, it's mighty good of you to help us out during the strike. Working class solidarity, as they say.
Oh my god, a racist thing.
Oh, so the none of the above type, are you? I get it, I get it. I like to keep my distance too. But it doesn't matter. It's a good thing you're doing. What you're looking for is a basement door behind the greenhouse.
Okay, but where did you get the key from?
The janitor gave it to me. Nice fella.
What
He talked
janitor?
about life and things that really, truly matter. None of this mess we're in. This jiving and juggling. What's it for? To feed our children, I guess. I'm more of a philosophical dock worker. I like to talk about the big picture stuff. Who I am, who you are, what we are fighting for.
He means he's not going to tell you, cause he doesn't know. But he will shoot his mouth off with you now that you're working for Everard. Who he is, and what they're fighting for. This is interesting. Ask him about the Hardy Boys.
Los Hardys? They're an independent militant group. A bit too high-strung, but it comes with the responsibility. They're sort of like you. Preserve the rule of law and all that. We're negotiating our share. Aye. This stuff, they already covered. Never grateful. Were we ever grateful, we'd have nothing. You fight for every piece. All of it. However, right now we want all the harbor workers to be on the company's board, so they could take part in the decision-making process.
That would be a
This
mess.
seditious talk sounds like communism. Just so we're on the same page.
No. I don't think I'm a communist. Seeing something of value and saying I want it all to myself is a much older and simpler notion. No science to it at all. Even a weak child can think it. The only things holding someone back are I can't and I shouldn't. I have nothing against communists. They are honorable boyaderos. And they have good analysis. But my own code serves me well. If my code starts failing, a code can fail a man as well as a man can fail a code, then I will have to submit to a new one, which may well be communism.
He knows who he is. Firmly grounded. Has no need to reinforce or elaborate his political...
See, I'm primarily a lazy person. I think it's best you make up your own mind now that you've met him. I guess you kind of get to be the village chief. He oversees the harbor, makes deals with the owners or other relevant parties, watches out for his own.
By that, you mean corruption?
By heavens, why would he not be corrupt? We live in a harsh and disordered world, see? And in this world, the old man is corrupt for our benefit, and we know it. He is reasonably lavish, sure. That's his prerogative. It's not like you want a saintly demeanor on a corrupt motherfucker. That would be a manipulative illusion. Besides, there are no non-corrupt systems in the world anyway, and moralism is the most corrupt of them all.
This man has political theory, and it has not failed him today.
Sure, I've had the necessary free time. Fortunately, there's always time.
The look in his brown eyes conjures up an understanding. For him, having command of his time is the most important thing. It all comes together now. The way he speaks about scabs, his general attitude. He's a follower of a 500-year-old Franco-Nigerian Boyadero code, itself an appropriation of Vespertine cool. that of a noble peasant or a traveling herdsman. True to yourself, independent in your actions, loyal to your friends. The man sits on the railing, his hands reaching.
The mercenary, eh? Who could have killed him? That's indeed the question. Why even do such a thing? What a thought! Why would noble workers resort to such a thing? Unless they were pushed, of course. Your dead guy was an enemy combatant.
What does that mean?
He was an agent of the opposition, attempting to undermine our honorable efforts. I ain't the murdering type, but that's just me. Large organizations like our union have all sorts of men, with all sorts of skills.
He's not lying about not doing it himself. He means a more violent faction could easily take care of such a thing.
Well, we know who it
Understood.
was.
This has been of limited use. Still, thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, we got the key. Get down. Get! Spaz.
Right to work! We were promised work. We'd be in there, working, if the bastards hadn't shut the gates. Main gate's locked. Would take heavy ordnance to bust it open, and try to get in through the secretary's office. Door's locked. The guard's blocking the way to the access panel. And I don't mean the scrawny mess punk either. I mean head measurer. Or whatever he is. Yeah? That giant up there, on the bridge you talked to. Head measurer. Won't let the workers by. The access panel is right behind him. Bad. Standing on a narrow bridge, he's got a strategically advantageous position. And he's trained. I don't know how the Union has a trained killer up there. But that one's no joke. And why don't you go arrest them instead? I'm sure they've done plenty of criminal shit. They have that look.
It would be better for the neighborhood if you went home, at least for now, if you can't get in anyway.
No! They will give up eventually. Or get drunk. Leave the button unguarded. Then we charge. When a bunch of ungrateful, lazy cockroaches can't get their act together, decide to block honest work for other people. Beats me. They mumble nonsense about boardrooms and workers' rights.
Okay, so they're all on the same
while
pages
we
about what they want.
have the right to work!
When the man moves around, you perceive some serious abs underneath his tight-fitting shirt. This man is in shape. There's
No
something
shit.
odd in the way he carries himself. His set of clothing looks vaguely mismatched. The different pieces of the attire seem ill-fitting. His shirt is far too small and an unpleasantly tight fit, while the overalls, held up by a belt, seem to fit a man with much more corpulence. He ignores your question, choosing instead to turn to the emaciated workers, raising both fists in the air. Silence is the answer. There's something off here, but he won't say what. You've been talking to him for quite a while now. Something is off with this guy.
What's it to you? Am I a suspect? Done no crimes. I only fight for the rights of people. We're all workers, right? Workers stick together. Came from the eminent domain, in Jamrock. Backgrounds in odd jobs, heavy lifting, cargo hauling, bouncer work. I know the drill. Worked at Territorial. Ring a bell? Uh-huh. It was a long time ago. What's it to you? Big mess, caused by union greed. But I only fight for the right. We're all workers, right? Workers stick together. Worked at Territorial. Ring a bell?
We're done here. I have a strike to break.
He's a liar. He's a liar.
Right to work! Right to... Things are busy enough. You're going to waste less of my time?
The hulking man oozes stark skepticism.
What's it to you? No. Don't think we've met before. We're all workers, right? Workers stick together. Worked at Territorial. Uh-huh. It was a long time ago.
He's lying. He is a liar. Let's get that door open. It's nearly time for that guy to come.
This must be the Royal Lion. You knock silently. The upholstery muffles the sound. No response comes from the apartment.
I guess no one is in?
The leather upholstery is worn and rough against your jaw. You
Someone
don't hear any movement.
I don't want to go in.
In fact, it's oddly silent in the yard around you. No birds chirp.
Probably because there's a dead body
Let's
hanging.
be honest. This isn't what I joined the RCM for, but every day tells you something new about yourself. Apparently, working with the local union boss to get info on an investigation is not something I'm squeamish about. I mind that the local thug is using the RCM for his busy work. But if this gets us to the bottom of this hanging, then I'm willing to look over it. On the other hand, we could just leave and tell Evrart we opened the door. No one seems to be tailing us to see if we actually did it. Yes, presenting a fabrication is known to get results here and there. You took this task.
The door is right beside.
I'm gonna open the fucking door.
Finally, only curiosity.
And I'm gonna go in.
Master Investigator, you just can't keep yourself away from locked and hidden places, can you? Nothing. You're right. Get in there. Deep. Invade every personal space. Break every lock. Attaboy, the world's secrets were made for you. They wait patiently for you.
Cool. He's become more pleased with himself. Can I go in? Kim, you coming in? Loads.
A row of mugs sits on the shelf. Each one depicts a human figure. A dark-skinned woman grinning amidst mysterious symbols. A broad-shouldered man shoveling potatoes. A little ring. Though cheerful, the images on the ceramic make you vaguely uncomfortable. There's something disdainful in the way the curves and lines of the bodies were drawn. The images betray a lack of interest in human beings. They are merely unflattering caricatures.
Oh,
the owner of
the
these
racist
mugs doesn't like people of other ethnicities very much. This person is unhappy. The lieutenant picks up one of the mugs, then puts it back down with a look of disdain.
I'm beginning to feel better about breaking into this man's apartment.
Yes, your broken mug friend would feel very much at home here. The same humor, the same mocking lines.
There's the missing tin soldier. Whoever lives here might have used the Whirling's container to dump his trash.
But it's the actual
And now
janitor.
they've drawn the ire of the Union. The plot thickens, as they say.
An interesting little clue. Let's see where this goes. Clues have a way of magically connecting to other clues down the road. Perhaps you should break into apartments more often.
Who knows? I'm not expecting too much from this clothes in the trash lead either way. It might turn out to be some random local matter, but still, a nice coincidence.
You could ask Everard who this...
No, because then he'll know I've been in his flat.
This is the flag of Revachol, the suzerainty. This isn't just one son, but there are little suns dancing around the big sun.
Oh, how
This
cute.
is the sevenfold sun miracle. It's an optical atmospheric anomaly the first settlers saw. Happens in cold weather. 6 small suns around the big one. This complex halo phenomena is how old Revachol got its flag.
Mm-hmm. The tenant is an old-fashioned guy.
By old-fashioned, he means very right-wing. The flag
The
doesn't
worst.
seem to mind. It's just a colorful fabric with a sun sewn onto it. Like all feudal flags, it looks like a children's drawing.
It kind of does. What's that? Magnesium! Should we put on that shit? Nice. What's that? Alright. The clue was in the mug.
Mr. Dubois, a pleasure as always. You don't have to sit down this time, since you've already sat on that chair. I'm very glad to hear that, Harry. One question. You didn't actually happen to stumble in and see what's inside the apartment, did you?
He's trying to figure out if you're lying.
You're right, Harry. You only had to unlock the door, which you did. So we're all good here.
He was testing you, and you succeeded.
Yay.
Now let's get down to brass tacks. It's time for men like me and you to figure out who's killed who and why. Real
Please.
police work is gonna start happening now. I promise you, Harry, this is gonna be good.
Alright.
Racist mugs in the trash and in the apartment? You guys are just light years ahead of me.
What?
I have
He
so
doesn't-
much confidence in the ability of your organization.
It doesn't really
I'm
matter whether you
relieved
went
you're
in or
doing
not
this and
then.
leaving me to do what I do best, helping people, with the power of politics.
Yes, yes. Do you think this weasel is somehow connected to the murder?
Oh, no. I don't cross paths like that. All I want is for you to succeed in your investigation. I would never complicate things for you.
Oddly, it seems to be true.
Believe me, Harry, he's a nobody. Just your basement variety nobody. Can't imagine him being connected to a high-caliber case like this. But he does live nearby. Maybe it's a pedantic weasel. Fascists are known to be neat freaks. I feel like a real detective right now, Harry. Am I getting this right?
Would he? I'm not so sure about it.
Oh, you're too kind, Harry. Way too kind. I know I'm not a real police officer. You are.
Yes.
By now, I'm sure you've figured out who the dead man was working for. The bad guys. Wild Pines. Sent to scare us. Another violent measure of the top hats against us flatcaps. Harry, this strike is the culmination of many, many mistakes made by the Wild Pines group. They tried to shut the strike down by sending in armed mercenaries.
You mean our victim?
A security contractor? Can you imagine that? Workers standing in peaceful protest, united in the spirit of fellowship, and they send hired killers to mow us down with machine gun fire?
He performs a motion as if spraying bullets from a machine gun.
I'm talking beasts, hardened killers from proxy wars in Yisut, Semenine, Saramaritsa, you name it, they've done it. Raping, killing, burning villages, killing little children for the Senorita Pineapple Company, Harry. Everything they did there, they brought over here. They want to turn Revachol into a third world slum. Honestly, the only thing they didn't do is kill the village elephant. No, Harry, the elephant is metaphorical and so is the village, but the mercs and their brutality are very real. Now, I haven't personally witnessed the brutalities out there. I have the luxury of staying in my container, you see. If I need to go somewhere, they just move my container. Yes, I'm an old man, Harry. My legs aren't what they used to be. They lift my office with that big crane. It's actually very fun. You should try it. But enough about me and my fun container. The killers the company hired, I think there were 3 of them, all hardened commando types. One of them got downright suicidal, getting drunk, violent, a little rapey. Even their own negotiator couldn't control him. That's your boy, the one who likes hanging out and trees.
By negotiator, you mean Joyce?
Harry, what you need to realize is, we dock workers are not pushovers. We
You're
got grit,
murderers.
Harry. This whole neighborhood does. Push us hard enough and we push back. And when we do, we push to kill. Potentially, Harry, potentially. We got arm wrestling champions, rowing club people, ex-coal miners, tough guys, all ready to spring into action for their home base. There's a militant wing inside the Union, a group of people whose duties don't involve manual labor, but peacekeeping in the neighborhood, making sure everything runs smoothly.
That sounds a bit like organized crime.
They're like you guys. Idealistic people who want to make sure bad things don't happen. And if they already have, well, punishment must follow.
Again, that sounds like organized crime.
So these idealists killed our victim?
One day Titus Hardy, leader of this peacekeeping faction, comes up to me and says, "Boss, socialist democratic fervor drove us to take it upon ourselves to kill this beast that was burdening the land." He probably worded it differently, but that was the idea. Sure sounded to me like they killed him. I gave them 2 weeks paid leave and told them to lay low to avoid retaliation.
Aren't you worried we might arrest them for this?
Oh, I'm not at all worried about that. These are not the kind of men who get arrested. They're Martinez boys, tough and gritty. I'd like to see the man who takes them in. Besides, I sent my lawyer girl to look after them.
He places a lot of faith in that lawyer girl. Perhaps this is a tactical error. Anyway,
How do I know? Let me tell you about these people. That's their MO. It's what they do. Last winter, some poor workers in Terminal E went on a little strike. The company sent in Sediment, a security contractor. The strike was over the workers' right to wear protective footwear, Harry. These guys turn up and start beating people. Tell you what, Harry, I wouldn't be surprised if we got the same mercenary company after a little rebranding. And I'm sure as hell not surprised to see an army of scabs under my gates.
So you believe the scabs were organized by the security contractor?
You said it. Hell, one of those guys looks big enough to take down that proverbial elephant.
We were asking
Boys
about
like
him.
that don't just happen to show up during strikes.
that does sound quite unlikely. Yes. The big guy leading the scabs at the gate is colossal.
Yeah.
Oh, Liz is a bright one. I paid for that law degree myself, thinking it'll probably turn her all fancy. But hell, Harry, she came back a firebrand socialist. Sometimes she scares me with her zeal. Oh, they are simply fine young men, all
They're
7
horrible.
of them. Exemplary union members.
Making a point
Always
of
working
7.
to advance their position in the local socialist democratic movement. Core members. Old Theo used to run them, but things really kicked into gear when Titus took the reins and named the group after himself. Gotta love his initiative.
Interesting. Who's second in command?
They're almost all of them great guys, born leaders. Whatever happened, I'm sure they only had the best interests of Martinez and Revachol in mind. Work with them.
You know
Hell,
what happened.
interview them, but don't fight them. They really are just like you. Men who like beer, women, and some order on the streets. But of course, it's the least I can do for my good friend Harry. I'll do it right after we've concluded this talk.
You can now go and tell Titus about this. See what he has to say.
Also, Harry, here's 5 real. I'm not giving you anything. I'm just holding out 5 real.
lieutenant watches you pocket the banknote. He looks a little puzzled.
Good boy. A real team player. Now, do you have any more questions? Was it a good tour? I'm not sure we made much headway here. I was hoping we'd bust the case wide open. Heck, I even wanted to tell you what I really want to achieve with the strike. I don't know what happened, Harry. I wanted you to feel like Mr. Martinez. And of course, I also wanted you to find your gun. But it's like I can't completely trust you. Yet. Yes, Harry. It's like I can't fully trust you if you're not a man of the left. I want to, but I just can't.
A man of the left? So you have to be a social democrat? He's been hurt too much in the past by men who aren't social democrats.
You're saying it, but I don't believe you. You know how it is, company snitches, agent provocateurs everywhere. I'm barricaded in this fortress of mine, and I need to get a message out. Will you help me?
And what would this entail?
Once again, I require nothing unethical or illegal of you. You just need to get 2 little signatures on this piece of paper, and then mail it to my accountant in La Delta.
It depends. I don't think what we just got from Mr. Clare was very useful.
But, he thinks, it's your call.
As I said, it weighs on me heavily. But once we get really talking, well, I'm gonna hand you the keys to Martinez, and maybe even help you figure out who's behind this killing.
He's saying as little as possible.
I'm glad you asked, Harry. The Union is going to build a modern youth centre in Martinez. It will be righteous. We're gonna get those teenagers off drugs and on roller skates. There's a nameless little street on the coast with some old houses around it. Most people have already signed. I just need 2 more signatures to get this mission off the ground, Harry. On the coast, Harry, across the canal. There's a cul-de-sac there.
Tomorrow, then,
a little village
when the
they're
bridge is
calling
open.
it. A gloomy place. You'll find it. I trust your detective skills, Harry.
Water drips from the eaves. A woman looks at her freshly tarred skiff. There's a pair of cavalry boots under the fish in the box, and the wind howls like...
They are just gonna have to deal with the construction noise for 6 months, and then they'll be living like kings. Right next to a fancy new youth centre, designed by the best architects from Stella Marie.
Is he absolutely sure the tenants won't be thrown out in the street?
Am I? Harry, these people, Martinez is the most important thing in my life. I would never let anything bad happen to them. We're gonna build a youth centre there. You bring joy to my heart, Harry. Such a pleasure to be working with you. Here. You need to get signatures from Isabel Sadie and Lillian Carter. The cul-de-sac is right past the pawn shop and across the canal. I hear there is some trouble with the water lock, but they should fix it by Wednesday morning. Once you have the signatures, mail this to 13022 La Rocca in La Delta. Then I'll know you're a solid socialist.
Let's look at that letter as soon as we're out of sight.
I've got nothing to say to you. I suggest no.
Even though you caught her off guard.
No. Talk. Agree? Listen, you Morrowlinton lackeys. You're...
Fuck yeah.
No one is emotional here. Do your job.
What's this? We're getting reports of normal, reasonable, temperate, political opinions somewhere in Martinez. Of course, a radical centrist. In these bright and loud times where 1,000 frequencies drown one another out, sober thinking is a radical act. It's time to become a citizen of the kingdom of conscience. It is not a place. It is a moment in time that can only arise in the right circumstances in all of human history. has only been achieved a handful of times. Incrementally. Yawn, you'd get there faster with a little speed. Speaking of, when are you going to get on that, bub? History's greatest catastrophes have been brought about by people trying to make the world a better place. Too quickly. That's the genius of Dolores Day. She recognized that progress is meaningless if its gains are lost because of instability. Real, lasting change can only come about gradually, increment by increment. The kingdom is difficult to comprehend and even more difficult to describe. Partly because humanity will need to discard many of the categories that define and limit it today. The kingdom of conscience is post-capitalist, post-national. It's also post-industrial, post-ideological, and even post-sexual. Slow down, Mr. Reasonable. Did you miss the part about compromising and taking things slow? That's right. Remember, real democracy is just around the corner for Revachol. When that real democracy kicks in, a long time from now, we are all going to be so much happier.
It's you again. What is it? Oh, so you went and talked to my mommy, and now she's making me play with you. Is that it, lawman?
And what's gonna happen if we don't? You gonna go and tell on us? You gonna let him talk to me like that, Titus?
Let's see. Yeah, I guess I am, you big pussy. The old man sent word you'd be around again. That's the reason I'm being so forthcoming with you. Don't wear it out.
But having Everard back you up like that did seem to have some effect. Establish authority. Yes. Authority. Feverish thoughts race through your mind.
Can I back out?
Stop shitting your pants. You don't need to know, all right? We took care of it. The law handled it, all right?
Yeah. Aren't you listening? It's done. Finito.
No, asshole. You're nobody. I'm the law.
Stop yelling about the goddamn law in my establishment. We get it. You're all the law.
Let's just all cool off. We had some questions, that's all.
Again.
Good one, Titus.
Yeah, lawman. Why don't you?
It's almost an anthropological sight, watching him try to assert dominance over you.
Not in the arresting mood?
By your side, the lieutenant keeps his hand away from his holster. You hear the nylon of his coat hiss as he steps closer. Easy. Walk back from the provocation. They're armed, and they outnumber us. The lieutenant tries to establish eye contact with you.
Wise move. You made the right choice there. Now make another one and get the fuck out of our booth. About fucking...
I think we could totally get killed if we tried to fight them. Honestly. Alright. What missions have we got now?
You take the legal documents out of the envelope. A 12 to 40 month construction period and the zoning plan in the addendum. There is no loophole. The simple truth is the current residents are going to lose their street access, and for the next 12 to 40 months, their lives will be dominated by constant construction noise right next door. Once the construction starts, It'll probably take a few months, a year maybe, for even the most stubborn occupants to get tired of living like this. After that, they'll sell their property for cheap and move out.
I should have seen it. Evrard probably has eyes on us, but we could try to get other people to sign this instead of those listed. Or you could forge their signatures yourself. By the time he finds out, we'll already be gone. However, we'll need access to the coast before we do anything. Evrard won't believe you got villager signatures if you can't even get to the village. You can try a forgery as soon as we can cross the waterlock.
The youth center cuts into the ocean like the bow of some great modern ship. Apparently, it's going to cover most, if not all, of the street and the square between the existing houses. It's 3 stories tall.
Jesus.
It's going to be awfully close to the already existing buildings, almost wall to wall, practically integrating them into the youth center. This is either an ominous or cool architectural choice. Hard to say. My money is on cool. Looks like a cubic pyrite.
Okay, so... who's Renee? Renee, I know, is one of the old people outside. I've still got missions from... okay. From Monday. He won't talk to me. Yeah. 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 You won't let me in. 9 o'clock, right?
Oh.
No, I don't want to talk about the fucking bugs anymore.
You're already set for the night.
Alright. So let's go talk to Joyce. No, Renee and then Joyce.
We are still waiting for a replacement for the bull you sent sinking.
Yes.
Yes. The Debardeurs Union pays me to stand vigil during the nights. Not out of any political allegiance, mind you. I'm an old man. Don't sleep more than a few hours every night anyway, and money is tight. Yes, it does. Unfortunately, I wasn't working that night. It's a private matter. Nothing to do with your investigation.
You see, officer, René is the kind of man would rather die than admit he needs medical assistance or, God forbid, sick it. A real man's man is just gonna ride it out.
I'm fine, goddammit. Mind your own business. It's nothing. Just got to cut back on coffee.
It's his heart.
No one. The bus has been unmanned since last Monday. There's no other guard. It's just me.
No one has been guarding the container yard since last Monday.
Yes. It's not actually an issue. I mean...
Look, officers. The container yard doesn't actually need a guardsman. Never had one before René. Monsieur Claire had that booth built specially for him. It's mostly decorative.
The possibility of someone being in there is enough to discourage any ill-minded individuals.
Evrard created this job for René because he knows the Royal Carabiners' pension of honor and PTSD isn't something a man can live off. A decorated Kingsman collecting tear reflects bad on the whole neighborhood. His words. Oh, I didn't mean to imply there's something wrong with that. I do it too. Everyone does it. It's an excellent side thing.
Yes, yes, yes. Can we conclude the topic of my guard booth now?
He is not going to become an entrepreneur.
She is nobody. This is none of your concern, and I refuse to discuss my private affairs with the RCM.
The lady is Jeanne-Marie Beaulieu, and she sure as hell wasn't a nobody.
Yes, yes. Like I said, it would be up anyway, so might as well keep an eye out. It keeps my senses sharp. Yes. The terrain here provides an interesting variety to a familiar game. Yes. It was left by heavy artillery fire. Why what? Because that's what happens when communards hijack your country, execute your supreme leadership, and turn your capital into a slaughterhouse. You use heavy ordnance to clean up your home. Commies, communists, socialists, anarchists, call them what you like. They just chose the name to feel special. Senseless sentimentality. Sadly, no. It was the foreigners who brought them to their knees. We fought valiantly. Too valiantly. So valiantly we got licked. Should have fought dirty, like they did with their suicide sex cult propaganda and mad anarchist women strapped to shrapnel bombs. We didn't though, and we lacked caliber. God bless.
It was probably a bit more complicated than that.
This place is a damn beachhead, son. They had to soften the commies up first. Yes, the military coordinated amphibious landing to take back Revachol. Martinez was used as one of the 3 footholds in Revachol during Operation Deathblow in 08. The other 2 are off in Stella Maris and the Delta. This here is Blood Ground, where coalition boots first made landfall and cleaned those rabid dogs out. Most likely, we're playing pétanque on their mangled corpses.
Blood Ground. You got old René going there. Like he isn't hungry enough already.
Damn right, son. They laid the fire of hell on the city before they stormed it. And it worked, too. The rest of the city got cleaned up, but Martinez they keep as a monument. And now the Union Socialists are practically running the place.
Well, it's your own damn fault. You, we, the coalition, Revachol, whoever you want to blame, never finished the job. Officially, the party never surrendered. Of course they still hold influence.
You don't even begin to truly understand the players at the table, let alone the specific circumstances surrounding the...
Thinking men have opinions on these things. Present one.
I'm sorry it had to be them. After 8 years of fighting those hyenas, boiling cats for food and drinking piss in the mountains, I would have preferred if the Right Honorable King Guillaume returned through Revachol, or even if that damn clan Frisel had risen from the grave and led us. Sadly, that was not the case. Instead, all that is just, holy, and beautiful in the world was wiped away, and now it's neon signs with toothpaste ads everywhere. Foreign influence peddling garbage and stupid music on the radio. This is just what the commies wanted. This was their plan all along. This is what they wanted to replace the role of the suzerain with. It doesn't. That was 100 years ago. It had nothing to do with anything. Damn Frisel. He was the king we couldn't protect. The Carabineers failed him, and the crown. He died in the hands of the Hyperlay, in a very public execution.
He slouches as he says that. It makes him smaller, admitting they left the king to the mob.
A true king in both blood and mind. Led Revachol before Fricelle. He would have been better, but the damn commies drove him into exile.
Some manner of self-deceit is present in his thinking. Sounds like this Guillaume abandoned him, and he doesn't want to admit it.
The suzerain is the king! Has everyone forgotten already? They've forgotten already. It's no use talking to you. You were still in Daddy's balls when it happened. When we took our last stand against the filth and rode the cavalry straight into gunfire.
Yes, my eyes on the harbour have sent word to that effect. What have you discovered? It doesn't really matter, and I do apologize for the surveillance. Wild Pines can't afford to be blind at a time like this. In any case, it's a relief to know someone has looked into it. If I may ask, will there be an official investigation? I assume you discovered there is an operation.
If there is an investigation, it will be part of an ongoing operation, subject to confidentiality. I am sure you understand.
Of course, detectives. In any case, you've held up your end of our arrangement. I trust you with the rest. Now it's my turn. I wouldn't normally break protocol like this, but the situation demands it. If you don't solve this murder, I'm afraid we may have a bloodbath on our hands.
The words bloodbath sound cold in her mouth. They taste of iron and strawberries.
Yes. I'm afraid this strike may descend into a small-scale civil war, with possible consequences for all of Rivachol West.
Since you are sharing land, this is also the RCM's worst-case scenario.
Then we're on the same page, as grim as it may be. I have an indirect role to play, I'm sad to say. My employer experienced a momentary lapse of faith in me. In that moment, they elected to deploy a private military contractor as an insurance measure. They called it my security detail. They were dispatched after I relayed the union's initial offer. Every worker a member of the board. I tried to convince my employer it was simply a piece of rhetoric and not a serious demand, but the stridency of it seems to have spooked them. Absolutely not. These mercenaries are muscle, pure and simple. They are meant to intimidate the Union into surrendering.
Who are they, exactly?
Crenel, an Oranese military company. As far as I know, 3 arrived in Martinez. They report to me sporadically, but they do not answer to me. To be frank, our relationship is deteriorating. They wear ceramic armor, have semi-automatic weapons, and years of combat experience. They also have trauma and stressor disorder, and no idea how to conduct themselves in an urban civilian environment.
So, what happened?
The story is, one of them, the Colonel, I don't know his real name, sexually assaulted a local woman while he was drunk and separated from his unit. This allowed some of the more militant Union members to subdue him. He was taken out behind the whirling in rags and lynched last Sunday night. Nothing. Mr. Clare refuses to let me into the harbour. I have not been able to discuss this matter with anyone there. The remaining 2 Crenel contractors carry out their orders, for now. It's a smokescreen. In secret, they are conducting an independent military tribunal into the lynching. Once this investigation is concluded, executions will follow.
Wow.
What is the nature of this so-called investigation?
Whether to execute one, some, or all of the Union militants.
Wow.
It is very far from Disco. My only hope is that you provide a single, concrete suspect before the mercenaries indiscriminately pick theirs. Simply put, if you don't pin this on someone good, and do it fast, they will identify and execute everyone present at the lynching. This in turn will force the Union to respond.
Oh shit.
The débardeurs have over 2,000 men. It will be 1,000 to 1.
Have you ever seen a hornet invade a beehive, Lieutenant? It's not pretty.
The Serai's giant hornet, the world's second largest insect, can kill 40 honeybees a minute, while a group of 30 can decimate an entire hive of 20,000 bees in less than 4 hours.
These men work in tandem using semi- and fully automatic firearms. Their armor is virtually impenetrable to muzzle-loaded weapons, even yours. Most Union workers don't have guns at all. As I said, a bloodbath. Many bleak scenarios have already come true. Nameless, badgeless detective of the citizens' militia. All we can do is keep the rest from going the same way. One single concrete suspect delivered into civil court, and I may be able to defuse this situation. Not much. Their public resume is relatively good, as far as private military contractors go. I believe they were once called Downwell. They boast a long list of clients. Saint-Baptiste, Welchman-Lorenz, Eintracht. A warning sign, however. The operations concerned all take place in third or fourth world countries. Guarding facilities, escort missions and such.
Meaning they're used to operating in war zones.
Yes. All the good conflict corridors, Supramundi, Yesut, the Seminese Islands, countries that don't have a good record reporting atrocious military conduct on their soil. Sadly, no. Before this happened, I had little interest in them. Now that I do, I don't have the resources. If you still have access to the ICP's database, you could run a better background check than I ever could. It may take some time, though.
The International Collaboration Police, ICP, is charged with coordinating law enforcement activities in complex multinational investigations.
Do you know a lot about the inner workings of the RCM and the ICP, man?
In my line of work, it pays to do your research. I was prepared to deal with the RCM. I did not think I'd be dealing with a group like Crenel. I have, and they will. However, these orders take time to reach what is basically a rogue unit out in the field here. Until they do, it's all on us.
She's being truthful. She is pressing them as hard as she can.
Or he didn't. This is information passed on to me from some teenagers loitering around the canal. I cannot testify by it. The remaining contractors, their tribunal, it's what they believe. That the man was killed because he assaulted a local woman. I've asked around a bit. This seems to be the accepted story around Martinez.
I've heard it as well.
The lieutenant consults his notebook, his eyebrows knitted in concentration.
Odd. We haven't heard any reports about an assault in connection with the lynching. Where did it take place? And when?
Last Sunday night, at the Whirling in Rags, the hostel by the gates. Supposedly, the colonel was drunk, maybe on narcotics too. Either way, he's alleged to have sexually assaulted a woman. Sometime later, a group of dock workers got their hands on him.
My theory is that Harry is one of the Colonel people and he's just fucking lost his memory and just thinks he's a policeman.
That's a good question, officer. I don't have the slightest idea. As I said, it's a rumor about a rumor. In any case, it's what the colonel's remaining colleagues believe.
You'll meet her soon enough, you feel?
If you mean did I see him alive, yes. But I did not know him. Lely, his service name, a nom de guerre, most likely. He wouldn't divulge his full name. Only one of them did. A bad sign if there ever was one. One is a man, Corty, they call him, a nickname as well. The other a woman, Phyllis DePaul. Corty is the gunner, I believe. DePaul is a radio operator.
What would you say was his eye color, the deceased's?
She closes her eyes, trying to picture the man's face, then shakes her head.
I can't remember.
The lieutenant was testing her, asking a small detail first to see if she knew him better than she let on. She passed.
That's all right, man. Anything else? Nationality? What would you say was his age?
He was 40. Or 50. It's hard to say which. He had a combat injury on his lower jaw. It made it difficult to estimate his age, or gauge his facial expressions.
What else? Nationality? Accent?
He was, Occidental, I think. Light brown hair, a mixed accent, Oranese, or Messinian, maybe. His injury gave him an accent all his own. In a way, it was humanizing. He had to learn to speak through it. Through the injury. That's all I know, I guess. I only met him once. They've gone to ground, as it were. I don't recommend seeking them out.
I think they're in that
For
building.
one, they're almost
With the,
certainly armed to the teeth.
With the bear in it.
They don't have the same respect for the Revachol citizens' militia as I do. To put it bluntly, they think you're vigilantes. Ghetto savages. It will not be a fruitful meeting. You're likely to run into them eventually. When that happens, I'll be in a better position to mediate if I don't appear involved.
One is obviously the scab leader at the harbour gates. The one chanting the idiotic slogans
Maybe not, then.
is barely maintaining his disguise. The other has a vantage point in a building south of the roundabout. They were keeping tabs on you while you were canvassing the lorry drivers.
That may be so. I still hope you heed my advice. There's no need to kick the hornet's nest.
For all your talk of averting this catastrophe, the situation at the gate is a powder keg. Does this not bother you?
Of course it bothers me, Lieutenant. But my hands are tied. How would my employer react if it appeared I were intervening on behalf of the Union?
Your concern may be appearances. Ours is keeping the peace.
That would afford a good vantage point. In any case, it's practically inaccessible.
Where is your radio for contacting them, if I may ask? Do you have an earpiece?
Heavens no. I'm not an undercover agent. There's a shortwave at the ship's wheel. I hope I can answer it better. Until the executions start? Truthfully, I don't know. It depends on their progress identifying the members of the lynch mob, and their impatience.
They don't report their progress to you?
Not on this matter. I'm afraid they consider this a personal initiative. It's a matter of days, not weeks. I am sorry to have been the bearer of bad news. If there is anything else I can help you with, please ask.
Ivy.
As you turn, a bright light catches your eye, making you squint. So cool. From a distant sunset, a stage light, flash photography, nowhere in particular. It's just what superstar law officers do. They squint at lights, and they solve shit. Yeah, you have. You're a big dick cop. Dick Money. Salam Rocky Baye. Badass on the edge disco cop. Time to recede into a ludicrous fantasy world. Here we go. Yeah, you know. Beneath it is just heartbreak. A pulmonary tract infection. Atherosclerotic disease. This is where you say action and reconceptualize all that. Reinvent it as the world's first celebrity police officer. This is the beginning of your legend. With a sudden flash, the world freezes around you, and you along with it. In an iconic monochrome solution, a black silhouette against a rasterized orange world. It's on.
Cool. Stop trying to run in front of me, Kim.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Just a moment, officer.
10-4, come in, officer. Over. Okay, 10-4, sir. I hear you. Relay your question. Over.
Wait. Before you say anything stupid, think it through. Be smart about this. Ask if he's there alone.
10-4, sir, I'm not hearing your question. 10, excuse me, sir?
You probably don't want to continue on this road.
Come again, sir, I didn't get that. 10-9, over. Understood,
Why
sir.
did you do the ICM
Over.
play?
Roger that, 10-10, over and out.
Guess not then. Well, anyway, it's time for us to call it session because we've been playing for ages. So, there's loads for us to do. We need to wait till 9 o'clock. I want to go back to Joyce and talk to her about some other bits and pieces. But until next time, thanks so much for tuning in. Bye.